Hey Cinema Central, it's your host, Thomas Price. I'm speaking to you live from a very different location, the Colorado Mountains, my home state. Today I decided to take a break from usually talking about animation or fantasy film and instead shift my attention to summer blockbusters. I mean, we are in the summer season after all, but I'm here to talk about a particularly special blockbuster film that actually has a connection to my home state, and that movie, of course, is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was originally released on May 24th, 1989. It was directed by Steven Spielberg and written by George Lucas. The film stars Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, Julian Glover, John Rhys Davies, Denholm Elliott, Alison Doody, and a young River Phoenix. It also features a wonderful musical score by John Williams. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was a massive critical and commercial hit when it was released that summer, and it actually was the top-grossing movie in the United States that summer. It went on to win an Academy Award for achievement in sound effects, which it absolutely deserved. The reason I picked this particular film is it actually has a connection to my home state. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was actually partially filmed here in Colorado, specifically down in Cortez and Antonina, and you can actually still see some of the locations there used. You can visit the Jones House, which is actually now a bed and breakfast that you can stay in, and you can also ride the railroad used in the film. However, it does not have a circus train as it was used in the original film, but it still gives you the incredible sweeping panorama featured in the film. Of the Indiana Jones films, this one, along with Raiders of the Lost Ark, is probably the most popular, and I have to think to myself, why do people still remember and love this one in particular? Well, and there are a couple reasons. The first of which is the father-son story. When I think back to old adventure films of the 30s, 40s, and even 50s, you didn't really get those deep connecting stories or heart. And with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, you do, because it's not just about the quest for the Holy Grail, but much more about Indiana Jones reconnecting with his estranged father, Henry Jones Sr., and how the quest literally brings them together. And of course, this also goes into the next point that makes this film special, are the performances, specifically the performances of Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. The two have, in my opinion, terrific on-screen chemistry, even though Sean Connery and Harrison Ford were only 9 years apart in age, which is amazing considering they were able to make Sean Connery look older than he was. But they both bring such unique depth to their characters. You have Indiana Jones as the daredevil archaeologist who literally can't take care of himself, but at the same time he's got the connection to his father. And Sean Connery shows Henry Jones Sr. to be a very kind and wise and older man, but one who, in his quest for the Holy Grail, accidentally forgot what it was like to actually be a father, and also a person who is still really hurting for the loss of his wife. And so to see them bring those two opposing personalities together really makes this film full of heart. And I mean, Spielberg himself always puts heart into his films, and so it was nice to see him incorporate that into the third Indiana Jones film. Another point I'd like to recommend that really works well in this film and makes it special, of course, are the locations. Like all the Indiana Jones films, it was filmed in different locations, as I mentioned, partially in Colorado. It was also filmed in Utah, California, New York, Venice, Germany, and Jordan. And that just shows that Spielberg himself wanted to make this a globe-trotting adventure. And whenever people think of Indiana Jones, of course, they're going to think of all the locations. And The Last Crusade has probably the best, especially with the Jordan scenes being used to represent the Middle East, where it was last said that the Grail supposedly vanished many thousands of years ago. And all the locations are just absolutely terrific. One location I also really like is the location of Venice, because part of the adventure takes place in the catacombs under Venice, which I believe you can visit, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But it adds to a lot of drama to the film, because Indiana Jones and his assistant, Dr. Alicia Snyder, also find themselves face to face with hundreds of rats, which streaming platforms and on home video as well. Anyways, this is your host, Thomas Price, coming to you live from Colorado. And as always, it has been a real pleasure.